Let me show you a cool MyStudio agent that is a derivation of something I built for the company that I work for as a MyStudio AI consultant, Advanced Local. What they wanted is they wanted to have an affiliate wanted their readers to have astronomy information for amateur astronomers in the readership area. So they asked me to build a workflow. This is a variation of that workflow that I rebuilt in my MyStudio workspace, and actually has a couple of enhancements that I didn't think of when I built theirs. I'll have to ask them if they want them. So what this does is that it has two different workflows. It has one that gets the planetary events that night, and then one that gets specific calendar events that may be that night. But one thing that this workflow does is that it does not get the calendar events for the current night. It gets them 5 days in advance, so that both readers and yourself, if you're interested in using this workflow, will have advanced knowledge of these events 5 days in the future, so that you can then prepare for your evening if you're interested in doing that night. So how do we get the future night? We use a global variable. What this global variable does is that it will get it has the current date, which is a system variable in MyStudio, and sets that date 5 days in the future from this current date. And we store that as a global variable called date 5 days. Then what we do is we parse that value into its component parts. We get the year, and we save that as a global variable year. We get the month in a numerical value, the month, and then the date number, and we save that as a date. Why do we do that? Well, the website from which we are getting this data uses that in the URL. Let's take a look at that for the planetary one that we'll talk about today. We're going to talk about the calendar one tomorrow. So notice here, this is a website called inthesky.org, and you can set your location based on you can set the value of in this URL of what your geographical location is. And you can change that by simply coming this to change location. You enter a name of your city or town, and then it will set that. And notice how it has a longitude and latitude. That number is based on this unique identifier for my location. But now notice also that it is also keeping track of the day. At the time of this recording is the 8th of September. So that is the 8 number, and then the month date, and then the year. This is being recorded into the URL itself. So there is a reason why we set that up in the global variable. We can now set that here, the date, and the year and month and the date. And we use that in the URL. So this is how we set the URL. Notice here how it says the global date, the month, and the year. And we populate that into a new variable called variable URL. You'll have to excuse me, I'm going to pause this video, and I have a hungry little cat who wants to be on camera. See, here she is right here. She's so desperate to be in this video. Maybe I'll just keep her in the video after the final edit. So now what happens is that we scrape this URL. We summarize the events from the planetary website, which is this site right here. Has a description of the planetary events that night. And then what's even cooler is that we use Nano Banana, or in this case, Google Flash 2.5, to make a sky diagram for this night, just like we have. Just like they provide one right here. But we can make a custom one for ourselves that we can then be delivered to via email, right in our inbox, so that every day we have an understanding of what future events in 5 days might interest us to plan to go watch. Honestly, in full disclosure, living in Cary, North Carolina, as I do, there's no way I could see anything in my night sky. I have way too much light pollution. But I just wanted to use my local city for this demo. So let's see how this would work. I'll run this in draft mode. And it is setting the URL like we just described. It is now scraping that URL, summarizing those events, and it is specified to summarize those events similar to my location. Now it generates the URL. And sends the email. What this email is doing is it is using dynamic HTML to dynamically generate this email, so it looks really nice when it hits my inbox. And I don't need to know any coding or anything else to use it. It's just using natural language. So now it's generated the output. Let me close this. We'll take a look at my inbox. And here it is. Let me display the images. And so here we have a custom sky chart made by Nano Banana for this night. And then it has a description of each item, describing it from Cary, North Carolina, so that I would be able to see it if I theoretically did not have so much light pollution. And then it shows Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. So I could theoretically use this every night to go out and view celestial objects, or the planets. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video, where I will be talking about this next workflow, which is a totally different animal. I hope you stay tuned. Thanks for watching.